is Kyle. Kyle doesn't like junk food. Kyle doesn't do drugs. Kyle likes to work out. Do some good shit.
Day 2 here at the 2025 Olympia Expo. Ammonomics.com presents MSM's coverage of the entire Olympia weekend. And of course, here he is, Dr. Tony Huge. Tony.
Hey, Joe.
It was
good to see you.
so good seeing you at Meet the Olympians the other night. And definitely, Hooga the Claus, on my buddy from Denmark on Instagram. Definitely, you got to meet up with Tony. And here we are. I'm very happy I can meet up with you. Enhanced Labs, title sponsor of the Greg and Joe show, myself and Greg Valentino. So I'm real happy about that, to have your company on board. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with Enhanced.
Always new, amazing, innovative products. The original product's still there, like Slim pills, putting carbs into muscle. You know, the original alternative to like the GLP-1 agonists and everything. Because all these make you eat less, Slim pills, you can eat more, and the carbs go into muscle. So instead of just starving yourself and just losing weight, you actually lose fat with Slim pills, and you actually gain muscle at the same time.
And of course, organ health, very important, especially if you're using gear, orals especially. So what do you feel about a supplement like that in tandem with a TRT program?
Well, it's not unhealthy to use testosterone and PEDs. It's unhealthy to use them and not take the ancillaries to protect your health. So me, for example, I've got a perfect calcium score. I have no arterial plaque. All my heart scans come back perfect now. And that's because even though I use steroids and performance-enhancing drugs, I also take the ancillaries like organ health.
Excellent, very important stuff. Also, you're living full-time in Thailand now. You just had a new addition to the Huge family, so tell us a little bit about that.
I just had my 4th daughter. I have 4 different baby mamas. My life is very complicated. It's a lot to juggle. You know, but imagine I did that while on steroids. I've been on steroids for 13 years, and I've had 4 daughters. I've had a lot more pregnancy occurrences too, but actually 4 actual live, daughters in this world, and working on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 next.
Wow! 4 daughters. I have 1 daughter. I can imagine how it is. Well, I have 1 and 1, and it's daughters are very different. Sons aren't easy either. So don't you might get what you wish for, Tone.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going until I have obviously IVF. You can choose the sex of your child, but I'm going for, let's see how many daughters I have to have until I have a son. I think it's going to be probably like 9 daughters, and then the 10th one is going to be the son.
The heir to the throne, as they say. I couldn't believe it. You got this huge documentary crew with you, following you around at the Meet the Olympians here at the Expo. I mean, there's equipment all over the place. Are you able to talk about that at all? Is this something that you wanted to keep under wraps?
I can't say what platform it is because that's part of the contract. They want to launch it when they want to launch it. They don't want people to know what platform it's going to be on. But yeah, I've got a 8-9 Hollywood film crew with me. It's a series, so it'll be like multiple episodes. We filmed 1 episode in Thailand. Next episode is this episode here at the Olympia. Next episode after that is in Denver, Colorado, and then flying to Mexico for a week with the crew, filming an episode there, and then back to Thailand for another episode.
So it's going to be like a mini series, not just a doc. That's really cool, awesome.
And I inject steroids on camera for the documentary. Of course, that's one of the reasons they chose me, right? Because they have the full transparency. I let them see behind the scenes my entire life, living internationally, doing things that are ordinarily taboo, and my goal in doing this, even though it brings me a lot of liability, is to help break the taboo. I'm the one who broke the taboo on TRT in the first place, and peptides, and SARMs. And so anytime I get these opportunities on big mainstream platforms to be able to show that I'm using all this stuff that they say is going to kill you, and yet I have this amazing life, I'm the perfect poster boy to break that taboo against steroids and performance-enhancing drugs.
Some of your earlier videos on YouTube with the injection and stuff were just legendary, with the young ladies and stuff like that. I mean, funny, but at the same time you were showing people how to do something, but with obviously a little entertainment value. Bodybuilding is not the most exciting fucking thing in the world. You obviously bring a little flair to that. So how long ago did you first start doing some of those videos? Because that was going back a while when I first heard about
this
you.
Must be like the 10-year anniversary now, right? It's got to have been 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And now it's a little bit more normalized to like do an injection on YouTube, but now it's more clinical. And in order to break the taboo, I had to show that steroids were part of my lifestyle. Like I had to show that instead of most guys who have to hide the steroids from their girlfriend, or at least at the time, a lot of men were hiding their steroids from their girlfriend or wife.
Yeah.
So I showed my girlfriends injecting me with steroids.
Yes.
And I made it okay. And then the women would also watch the YouTube and they'd say, oh, steroids aren't that bad. Look, she's even participating.
Yeah.
And even the women would they feel left out if they don't know about the steroids, they're participating with the steroids.
Yeah.
So I really came at it from every angle to try to break the taboo so that, those of us who want to use performance enhancing chemistry don't have to feel like we're bad guys doing it in the closet, like we're doing something illegal. I mean, not that it's still partially illegal, depends on whether you get prescription or not. But I wanted to make it so it's not something shameful, so it's something to be proud of. I think people who enhance themselves should be proud of it. They're the ones who are doing the extra work in self-development. The people who are not taking performance-enhancing drugs, they're not doing anything. There's nothing to be proud of.
Yeah.
But the people who are actually challenging themselves to learn about this chemistry, to do better, to feel better, to defy aging, that's what we should strive for.
I've been on TRT, I'm 58, since I'm 40, so 18 years. Stay on top of your blood, obviously. You got to do it the right way. Hey, listen, I fucked up a few times and did a little more than I should have. But for the past, I'd say 7 or 8 years, I've been strictly TRT, 1 shot a week from the doctor. My insurance company covers it. I get all of the tests. I get everything done right. So what do you feel about guys that have that option but sometimes decide to go the other route?
You mean they have the option of getting medical testosterone, but they decide to use underground testosterone, this type of thing?
Yeah.
Well, I understand a lot of guys, they'll go to their doctor and and then by the time they pay the doctor, by the time they pay for the bottle of testosterone, it can be expensive, depends on where you go. So they want to go underground because it could be a lot cheaper, know?
Yeah.
And this is just another example of what's wrong with the medical system. It shouldn't be cheaper to get something from the underground. If it's in the mainstream, it should be economy of scale. It should be cheaper. The markup on this stuff is insane.
Yeah.
I think we need to bring the cost down so that people can get pharmaceutical products that are very high quality and healthy for cheaper. It shouldn't be like go underground to save money. That's not how it should be.
And a lot of doctors have no idea what they're doing and they're afraid of this stuff. Like if you mention it, even if they give you a blood test and see your test levels are down in the shitter, sometimes they don't feel comfortable giving it to guys. So how do you feel about doctors that are sitting there looking at this guy's results and still not going and trying to do something to benefit him? Because that's a bad thing on his health now if he's letting that go then.
The problem is the medical system was built to become a medical monopoly, to protect the profits and to charge a lot of money for very little benefit. Now that's changing a little bit, but it takes a lot of time. It used to be that the doctors used to use a physician's desk reference, which is actually written by the pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
And they had to follow that. And if they don't follow it, they're eventually going to lose their license or lose their insurance. So like the doctors are stuck. They don't have a lot of discretion. I mean, if you have a doctor who's a friend, they're going to go, wink, wink, I'll give you what you need, And I don't think it's fair because high society, the guys who can pay the doctors big money, the doctors do whatever they want. But then for regular people who don't want to blow a huge amount of money, the doctor's got to play by the government's rules. And unfortunately, that means keep Americans sick and dependent and requiring this medical system because they're not actually fixing the problem.
Yeah.
So, we had to get away from that system completely. And it sort of has, but it came with good and bad. We got rid of the physician's desk reference about 5 years ago, and now they're using evidence-based care. But the problem is the evidence is also controlled by the establishment. The establishment decides what's evidence and what's not evidence.
Yeah.
And it becomes a much more complicated system, but now there's a lot more loopholes. So now a doctor has more discretion than they ever had before, but doctors are still afraid because they went to medical school during a time when they didn't have much discretion, and they were trained by the pharmaceutical companies and the physician's desk reference. So it's a broken system, and now before it's like all doctors were basically the same. They all sucked. Now you can have a few good doctors who can justify prescribing steroids and performance-enhancing drugs and anti-aging medicine based on the evidence, but they have to keep a file on the evidence and they have to keep a file on your lab work. It's more work, but the option is there. If a doctor wants to be a good doctor, they actually can be a good doctor now.
What do you feel about the people that try to attach prostate cancer to testosterone usage?
I don't think it's correlated very much. I think Benadryl is a cause of prostate cancer, and that's something people take all the time. It's okay to take once in a while, but every day, that's a cause of prostate cancer. And also, DHT is a factor, and it's true if you take testosterone, your DHT is too high. But another problem is if a man's estrogen is too high, it's also a problem. So it's like if hormones are out of balance, then that's what causes prostate cancer. And also all men are going to have prostate cancer. All men should be taking something for the prostate anyways. So I have a lot of thoughts about it. I just think the way the system treats it is not effective, and there are much more effective ways to deal with prostate cancer. And we're all going to have this issue as we get older. All men are eventually going to have prostate issues. My solution is SARMs. So and what happens is if I take steroids, it's true. If I have a sensitive prostate, take steroids, it is harder to pee sometimes depending on the dosage. But then when I take SARMs, my prostate recovers very fast. So I kind of go back and forth between SARMs and steroids, and that keeps my prostate healthy.
I asked you that because I just went through a recent health scare, had a biopsy done, came back all benign, and doctor said, okay, go back on the TRT. I got off of it before we did the actual procedure, just to make sure. But once I was cleared, he's got me back on my regular TRT dose. So I was very curious about your opinion on that, because you're well schooled in all of that. So you feel that SARMs are a good thing if you have a prostate issue like somebody like myself?
Yeah, like what's your testosterone dosage?
I do 1 ml a week.
So it's probably 250 milligrams or 225 milligrams per week. That's a good dosage. That's fine. You might even consider going down to 150 milligrams per week, but then adding a SARM on top. Okay. I think you'll notice it's easier to pee. I think your PSA score is going to come down. I think you're still going to feel just like you were on a higher dosage of testosterone, but with no prostate or other effects from steroids.
Which SARM do you suggest for something like that?
I've noticed specifically RAD 140 has very immediate effects benefiting the prostate. The other ones are also beneficial. They're all designed to be similar to testosterone, but better on the prostate. But I just noticed that when I have clients that have really bad prostate issues with a RAD 140 start fixing it like within 1 week, they start already noticing it's easier to pee.
I have that issue, and definitely I could benefit from that. I'm so glad that Greg Valentino one day said to me, you got to see this guy on YouTube, Tony Huge. And he sent me the link. And from then there, we had you on the Greg and Joe show. You wrote the column for the magazine that time. You did a guest column. And now we're back with Enhanced with Greg and Joe. I'd love to get you back in the magazine as well.
All right, sounds good. Let's do it. Let's do some really sensational, groundbreaking, cutting-edge chemistry article for the magazine.
There is only one Dr. Tony Huge, and we're talking to him right now. Tony, thank you so much, my friend. This was my pleasure.
Be small and swole, my friend of freedom, pioneer of human evolution.